Yeah, no, ready to go. Okay. Good evening and welcome everyone to the February 23rd Old Bridge Township Council meeting. I'd like to call it to order. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence and for our prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment of silence to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. This evening, Dr. Greenberg, Belli?
Yes, I'd like a moment of silence for Kim Brewster, the sister of Councilman John Murphy. She passed away on February 12th and much too young. She had more to do on this earth. May she rest in peace.
Thank you. And Mayor Henry?
Thank you, Council President. Great sadness tonight that I have to mention the passing of Phil Tinella, who passed away recently. Phil was a longtime resident of Old Bridge, specifically Chesapeake Village, where he served as board president for a number of years. But more importantly, Phil was one of our local heroes. Phil was a veteran of World War II. You might remember a few years ago, Phil served as Grand Marshal in our Memorial Day parade. Also unique with Phil, he served in a branch of the military that many of us don't recognize, but Phil was in the Merchant Marines in World War II and had so many stories to tell on TV. I think he was there for about an hour, telling the stories of his adventures, delivering the goods, as they say, with the Merchant Marines. Phil was very active in the VFW, Chesapeake Village, and I would ask that we please keep his wife, Gloria, and the rest of Phil's family in our thoughts and prayers, and thanks, Phil, for his service to our community and service to our country. He was a true American. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. A moment of silence, please. Mr. Pasquitti, our prayer, please.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give us quiet minds and hearts that we may hear your voice. Help us to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give us strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right. And grant that we have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice of the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on March 9th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. For roll call, Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Here.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli? Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy is present via Zoom. Mr. Pasquitti?
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
President Sohor?
Here.
We have 7 present.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. First presentations, do we have any this evening?
We do not.
Okay. Next will be approval of minutes of previous meeting. First is approval of minutes of special council meeting of September 9th, 2020. Move it.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Pasquetti.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pasquitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Okay. Next is approval of minutes of combined council meeting of October 5th, 2020.
Move it.
Move it.
A move by Mr. Pasquetti and second by
Second.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pasquitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Next, approval of minutes of combined council meeting of November 16th, 2020. Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg-Belli.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
yes,
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Thank you. Next will be bill list. Mrs. Walker.
Accounts payable, February 23rd, 2021, $19,716,445.12.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Pescitty.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
yes,
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Payroll, February 18th, 2021, $843,185.01.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
move it,
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescitty, second by Mr. Murphy.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
yes,
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Payroll overtime, February 18th, 2021, $52,342.42.
Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Pescitty. And Mr. Shaw, may we have a breakdown, please?
Yes, Council President, thank you. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime for this pay period was $52,342.42. In the other department, obviously, we had a snow-related events and overtime related to snow in Public Works and Parks departments. For sworn officer, the total overtime was $13,571.95. There was no deductions for grant ETO. It represents 191.5 man and women hours. During this pay period, the pandemic-related cost was $1,938.73. There were 2 officers injured on duty and 3 officers quarantined. I just want to bring it to the council's attention that the total snowstorm overtime for this year, total snowstorm cost for this year, including the material, the contractor, is $645,730.91. So we had a significant cost this year.
Could you repeat that cost one more time?
$645,730.91.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
Anyone else have a question? Mr. Pescitty?
Yeah, and we're not done yet, right?
That's correct. We still have one more payroll. We'll cover some of the storm-related cost of next meeting. Hopefully, we're done going forward, because I see the weather forecast is positive. Knock on the wood, let's keep that way, but we still have to cover one more payroll. We'll cover the cost.
Yeah, and what was budgeted? Did we budget that?
Yes, the proposed budget and our, as you know, the state law permits the reserve for this kind of events. That will be covered by both combination. Yes.
Thank you.
Now, we'll see what happens in November and December.
Right. Okay.
Okay, anyone else have a question or a comment for Mr. Shaw?
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. DePalma?
Yes, and
Doc-
great work by DPW and all our contractors.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
yes,
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
concludes
Shaw.
the bill list.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Okay, next will be ordinances for second reading. H1, revising Old Bridge Township Code, Chapter 250, Land Development, Section 78, entitled Stormwater Management. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli, and now we'll bring it out to the public. If anyone has any comment in the public, now would be the time to call for this, only for this ordinance for second reading.
This section of public comment is limited to comments on the ordinance regarding stormwater management. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. In order to raise your hand to make comment on this ordinance, you can use the call-in number 929-205-6099. Our Zoom ID is 842-8325-8782, and the passcode is 528778. If your hand is raised, I'll identify you by the name on the screen. I ask you to say your full name and address for the record. I've asked you to unmute Stacy L. Conn-Gregg.
I have my hand lowered for this particular ordinance. I want to speak later.
Okay, I'll lower your hand.
Thank you.
Are you also Stacy Gregg?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm going to lower your hand for that one as well.
The chat was disabled, so I couldn't identify that I wanted to speak.
Okay, well, that comment will come up now, later. Okay. Next, I have Edward Grimes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Edward Lefty Grimes. I'm with sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 here in New Jersey, representing the disabled and people that need help in wheelchairs. I used to live in Old Bridge.
Sir, is this related to the ordinance?
Yeah, I believe that if you had a dispensary in town, you could pay for a lot of these things.
Sir, the comments that are, the public comment portion at this time is limited to the ordinance that's up for public hearing, which
Right.
is regarding our stormwater management. Do you have any comments on our stormwater management ordinance?
Yes, that could be paid for with cannabis taxes and with cannabis money. But you have banned cannabis in your town. So if you unban cannabis, you'll bring back a lot of jobs to your town, a lot of union jobs, a lot of work. And a lot of this stuff can be paid for and take burden off the taxpayers with cannabis money. That's what I'm going to talk about.
Clerk, this is improper. This is related to the ordinance which is being modified. Has nothing.
Okay, if you say so. Thank you.
I don't have any other hands raised at this time for any comment on our ordinance.
Okay, so we'll close the public portion. We had a motion and a second.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin is absent. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 7 ayes.
Next will be public comment on any subject matter for a maximum period of 3 minutes. This includes our consent agenda items as well.
After instructions, I will open the public comment for 1 minute to allow people to enter the queue if people are not already in the queue. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. This section is open for any topic or items in the consent agenda. In accordance with NJSA 410-412A and the Old Bridge Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. The council will respect the public time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished their allotted time. It should be further noted that public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the corresponding department's office during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate time during the public comment portion of our meeting. The instructions for how to raise your hand in Zoom are present on your screen. Again, our Zoom ID is 842-8325-8782, and our passcode is 528778. If you're calling in from your phone, you can press *9, Option or Alt-Y from your Mac or PC, or the raise hand option in your computer or phone app to raise your hand. I will identify you by your name on the screen. Please state your name and address for the record. First, I have Stacy Gregg. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi. Okay. Trying to turn off. I was getting feedback. I'm trying to turn off one. Please bear with me.
Ma'am, if you're signed in on 2 different locations, you will experience feedback. Please mute one of them.
Trying.
Ma'am, please state your name and address for the record.
Here we go. Stacy Gregg, Rockaway, New Jersey.
Ma'am, you can address council.
Okay. I'm giving a call from Rockaway, New Jersey. We had an incident in our town that you may or may not have heard about regarding a particular councilman who needed to go and have I don't know how to say it, diversity training. Obviously there's a class that's offered, and with the diversity training, it was, I believe it was by a judge or by the other council members probably, agreed to censor the councilman and make it mandated that the person go and get the help that he needed. And now it's turned into a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a lawsuit for any town, but I feel this is a problem that has come to light, is very, very serious in the state of New Jersey, particularly since the 1/6 Washington, D.C. insurrection, where we have a lot of these people, unfortunately, really sadly, that have been influenced by QAnon and hate groups. And I hate to say it, but a good portion of the GOP, some of our relatives, some of our friends, some of our neighbors, people you would think would never fall for any of these ridiculous, outrageous type of hoax perpetuated stories. And it's a national problem right now. Our president won by a very, very large margin, and it's something that affects your town. And it became obvious to me as a person who is, quite far from you, but it's out there on the internet, a video of your last council meeting where there's a council person who seems like they're really not quite on the same level as everybody else regarding diversity and basic principles of white supremacy. I'm not saying it right. Basic principles about white privilege. The person spoke from a place of...
Ma'am, I'm so sorry. That's your 3-minute time limit, so I do have to stop you, but we appreciate your comment.
You did not give me my 1 minute warning. You said I had 3 minutes.
There is no 1 minute warning. It's just we indicate that there's 3-minute time. Thank you. Next, I have James Dabrowski. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening. James Dabrowski, Woodbridge, New Jersey. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. As a proud public school educator of 16 years right up the road in Perth Amboy, I take great offense to Councilwoman Greenberg-Bellay's anti-Black attack on the New Jersey Education Association. While my school district's union happens to be the American Federation of Teachers, we stand in solidarity with all organizations and individuals of conscience who stand firmly against racism and on the right side of history. Throughout American history, all of our racial justice movements have been met with opposition from white supremacist counter movements, and right now is sadly no different. Black Lives Matter began as a desperate rally cry after 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was stalked and murdered, and his killer outrageously not held accountable. Yet another infuriatingly blatant example of how our white supremacist society continuously devalues Black lives. 3 Black women activists by the names of Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tometi began the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which birthed the largest racial justice movement our nation has ever seen. A movement that has recently been nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. A movement that has unsurprisingly been attacked and vilified by such very fine people as our defeated and disgraced white nationalist ex-president, who wildly demonized Black Lives Matter as terrorists and disgustingly dehumanized Black athletes kneeling in protest against racism as sons of female dogs. And that's not the profane word he used, of course, but I'm being mindful of any children that may hear this. You had the audacity to quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in your awful February 9th racist rant, Dr. Greenberg-Belly. Yet anyone who actually studies Dr. King's words and teachings, instead of just cherry picking a few comfortable quotes, knows that he would have unquestionably supported Black Lives Matter and that he would have indeed kneeled in protest against police brutality and racial injustice. Let's not forget, Dr. King was not revered, but hated by the majority of white America while he was alive and still a threat to white supremacy. The last Gallup poll taken before he was murdered by white supremacy shows that he had a 63% negative public approval rating. The FBI's disgustingly racist and illegal COINTELPRO operation targeted Dr. King and so many other Black activists in a white supremacist effort to surveil, infiltrate, disrupt, discredit, and neutralize them. So please, don't try to whitewash and weaponize his radical and brilliant life and legacy. Don't invoke his name unless you're ready to follow in his footsteps and actually stand against the system that he so courageously challenged, the system that killed him. The racist system that more and more of us are finally gaining the conscience and courage to stand up and challenge today. In the words of author and activist Ijeoma Oluo, the beauty of anti-racism is that you don't have to pretend to be free of racism to be an anti-racist. Anti-racism is the commitment to fight racism wherever you find it, including in yourself, and it's the only way forward. Thank you, happy Black History Month, and Black Lives Matter.
Thank you. Next, I have Kason Little. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Kason Little, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Good evening. First, before I begin, I just would like to just say thank you, Jimmy, for your unwavering support and dedication to justice and to truth that you speak. I also stand in great disappointment in calling out Councilwoman Anita Greenberg this evening. I am a 20-year-old Black Lives Matter organizer here from Elizabeth, New Jersey, who ran for 2 local offices in his only 20 short years of life because I believe in change and I believe in justice. I am so disgusted by Mrs. Greenberg remarks and disrespect that she has shown. I honestly feel like Ms. Greenberg should be resigning right now in shame. Your words to not only reflect racism, but reflect all types of white supremacy that we're dealing with today. You may not like the heat that we're pouring out to you this evening, but let me tell you this. If you're not in love with justice or in love with serving all of your constituents in the town that don't look like you, then you have no interest in governing or should not be a part of any governing body whatsoever. I feel as though that you should be resigning right now and uplifting voices that are actually doing the work. And like Jimmy stated, you should not be quoting Dr. King unless you are actually willing to follow his footsteps and get into good trouble, necessary trouble, and trouble for justice, and trouble that is long overdue in our communities and our country. I am so disgusted that you had the audacity to question the NJEA long overdue actions and leadership regarding making Black lives matter in our schools. Black lives do matter. You may not feel like it matters, but it does matter. You may not want it to matter, but I'm here to tell you this evening that it does matter. I am a proud Black man, and we cannot and will not be intimidated. And in fact, we're not going any damn where. We ask that you actually resign effective immediately, because there's no place in local leadership. There's no place in any type of governing body for leaders like you who believe that Black lives don't matter. And according to my knowledge, there actually is many that actually are like you on your council. So you may oppose with us all you want, but I came on here this evening to let you know that we stand with our young leaders throughout Middlesex County, also in Old Bridge, who are speaking truth to power, but those who don't have the courage to do so. And again, I call for your resignation. Have a good evening. Black Lives Matter.
Next, I have Jeff King. Mr. King, if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Hello. Hello?
Hi. Mr. King?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Jeffrey King. I'm at 24 Elizabeth Parkway in Eatontown. I would like to wish everyone on the call happy Black History Month. I also believe Black Lives Matter. And I'm upset about the injustice and the stigma that has been going on in this country. I was on the call really to speak about your ban on cannabis in the municipality. And you banned medical marijuana, particularly cruel and harsh. That is a horrible thing to do to people who are sick and suffering. I think now that we have gotten through the bill signing of the recreational for adults, you definitely need to revisit the whole ordinance, particularly with the ban on medical cannabis. People are sick and suffering and you're forcing them to go and leave your town? That's ridiculous. People in wheelchairs, people that are already in pain, that can't get around as it is, to go to places where it's exasperating that you have banned medical. And I would like to thank Councilman Murphy for not taking part in that ban on medical. He understands that it helps. And Councilman Peschitti for voting against it, because we did not have enough information when that vote was taken. That was obscenely myopic and ridiculously, egregiously premature. So now that we see how many people have been harmed by that ban on medical, I really think it's altogether fitting and proper that we go back and rescind the ban and invite a medical dispensary so there are sick and suffering cancer patients, multiple sclerosis patients, PTSD suffering veterans, all the kinds of people that we love and care about, senior citizens, people who have suffered through their lives. You need to look out for them and stand up for them. Make an ordinance that would help them. So I was in your council before, the night when you banned it. I've been there, and I don't see anything going on that I'm really impressed with. I'm really disappointed. I'm sorry that you haven't listened, and maybe you'll learn before too many more people have to suffer. It's just really sad. So open up your minds. They're closed now. It's time to open them. Thank you.
Next, I have Jamie Van Sciver.
Yes, good evening. My name is Jamie Van Sciver. I'm of Paulsboro, New Jersey. I originally wanted to come in here and again speak about your ban on medical cannabis, which I hopefully will be able to have a moment of time to later. I would also like to say that Black lives do matter. I personally am finding it incredibly disgusting that with all of the technology available right now, that you are choosing to censor people and make them be faceless as they speak. I am trying to imagine who's speaking when I'm hearing voices. This is not what I imagine Open Public Meetings Act and Sunshine Laws had in mind when they went into great description as to what exactly a meeting is. I would like to see the individuals that were speaking previous to me. I want to see the passion in their faces. I want to see the emotion and the body language. We are humans. Like, why not just ask people to submit a 3-minute clip recording and just maybe you could play them in here and we get like no word at all. Your ban on medical cannabis is absolutely disgusting. You have veterans, you have children, you have churchgoers in your community, and your ordinance like talks about these places not around churches and not around schools. Children need it. Churchgoers need it. Like, when did people choosing a natural path for their medical treatment make it sound like I'm a pedophile? Like, we can't be around churches and children? Like, what are we, monsters? I wish you could see me. I have blue eyes and I don't look like a monster. This is disgusting that I'm staring at a screen and I'm not able to look at other humans that I'm interacting with and participating in a supposed public meeting. I'm done. You're disgusting.
Next, I have Wade and Enolji Walters. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Anjali Walters. I live in 76 Spring Street. We live in Woodbridge, New Jersey. My husband graduated from Old Bridge, New Jersey, and we're actually really embarrassed to hear of the things that are still happening in this town. He's told me some stories about going to school as one of the only people of color in his class. My sister-in-law's told me stories. People of color, Black people in particular, should not have to be quiet, silenced, and articulate and fit into your narrative in order to matter. It's really disgusting that they're not able to speak on the things they experience. You guys, you have to encourage your leaders to learn about racism and injustice in this society. You have to fix the historical wrongs that have been done. And you can't do that without properly educating people. We have been miseducated in America at a disgusting rate. Our textbooks are outdated. Our textbooks are out and out lies. And we continue to perpetuate this mistreatment. And as a mother of Black children, I'm disgusted to hear that public officials can just publicly out and out say that we have no business discussing it or righting these wrongs or looking for ways to make things better. And that in doing so, we're somehow perpetuating racism. Like, no, we're trying to fix the nonsense while you guys turn your cheeks and pretend like it doesn't exist. I can guarantee you it exists, it's existed, and it's continuing to happen to people of color. And if you guys might not know many people of color or have them in your circle, or maybe they're not comfortable enough to discuss it with you, but I guarantee you, if you make some real, true friends, you'll get an earful. You'll learn a lot. And I really wish that people that were put in these positions, that run for office, that decide that they're worthy enough to represent constituents in their town, will do the damn work. Excuse my French. Because it's not just about being nice and smiling and being articulate and saying what people want to hear. You gotta move your feet, and you gotta research, and you gotta study, and you gotta get to know people on an eye level. You have to understand what people are going through. And I'm sorry, the woman that spoke out against all these things that we're trying to accomplish, she doesn't know. You're out of touch. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Next, I have Rev Ria. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry. My name is Marina Redman. I live in Parlin, New Jersey. I would like to discuss your ban on medical marijuana. I feel as if I'm being bullied in your town because of the medical marijuana ban. I have cancer, which I feel as if I'm being bullied because I can't get my medicine. I have anxiety, which I can't get my medicine. It's medicine. It's a beautiful thing. It helps cancer patients, which I have, unfortunately. It helps anxiety, which I have. It helps people with PTSD, which I have. It helps so many things, so many health challenges, which people have. You also have in your town of Old Bridge 9 doctors who can prescribe medical marijuana to help people, to give the gift of life, to give the gift of joy, to give the gift of to be not in pain. Please reconsider this. Thank you.
Next, I have a phone calling in, the last digits being 3592. Please identify yourself by name and address. Hello?
Hello. By the way, what a great meeting. I'm so happy people can actually call in tonight. My name's Nina Joknowitz. I live in Old Bridge. You folks know me. You've seen me when we actually had the meetings in person. You probably don't need to see my body language, but you certainly know how upset I was at the last meeting when it was clearly, you clearly did not provide the appropriate information for us to get in and call in. It was not provided on the website, and when you kept posting your documentation was incorrect, and I'd like to know who it is who actually gave the information to Gabrielle, because I'm sure Gabrielle didn't think of this all herself. And also, one of the funny things was, the most interesting part to all of this, besides the violation of the Sunshine Act, is that at least one council person, Republican council person, is on a private website page, Facebook page, a closed parent page, which was the only place we could find the appropriate information to get it. Those people who support the agenda of the Republican councilmen were able to call in and knew the approach. They had actually the agenda 5 days before. They had it on Friday. They had the correct phone numbers, but every other person, every single other person, like myself and another person who called in, we had to search for this information. And I'd really like Hamacho to tell me exactly the format that the council takes to provide the appropriate information to Gabrielle, unless Gabrielle thought of it herself, which I very much doubt. Thank you. Hamacho, you ready to answer that? I'm just waiting for the answer because I know that we need an answer, right? I think that the whole of the Old Bridge community needs an answer to that one. Why you are trying to deliberately block the citizens of Old Bridge and the greater part of New Jersey from calling into the council meeting.
Ms. Joknowitz, do you have anything else? As this is not a Q&A.
Why not?
Nothing else.
Thank you. Next, I have Edward Grimes. I've asked you to unmute. Please identify your name and address for record, please.
This is Edward Lefty Grimes. I'm with sativacross.org, a 501c3 here in New Jersey. I used to live in Old Bridge, Society Hill, across the street there. I went to a Black Lives Matter protest, and it was the most peaceful thing I've ever been to. It was, we kneeled for almost 9 minutes, and I literally felt the spirit of God over that group that day. It was peaceful. It was eerily quiet, except for two women on both sides of me crying. And they weren't crying for George Floyd. They were crying for hundreds of years of George Floyd. Our country was built. Our country was made with white supremacists running the show from day one. We didn't get it right from day one. Our first sentence was all men are created equal, except black people, except Indians, except women. We were founded by white supremacists, and we have continued that to this day. And the white people, like myself, need to wake up to that fact, because the oppression is not over when the oppressor says it's over. The oppression is over when the oppressed says it's over. And they ain't saying it's over anytime soon, as you can see. You guys, Jesus, let me tell you something. This Republican Jesus you guys are worshiping, I don't know who he is. I worship a socialist Jesus who slept on a couch. He was poor. He used to feed people. He's compassionate and loving. He wasn't praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. That's not the Jesus that I worship, this Republican Jesus. There is no left and right. There's an up or down. Pastor Tim from Liquid Church says that. I wish I had said that. There is no left and right. There's only an up or down. And you guys better get it together, because your Christianity is at an all-time low over there in Old Bridge. You pray before the meeting, and I love it. I love it. But you need to realize 68% of Jesus' miracles were for the disabled. 68%. And what have you done in Old Bridge? You have taken people in wheelchairs and put them further back in line. You've taken the last, instead of putting them first, you put them last. Further back, you put obstacles in front of them. Let me ask you a question. Will you spend a day in a wheelchair? Because there's plenty of fills out there. There's plenty of fills out there with guns in their mouths ready to kill themselves right now, that need cannabis, that are off the, they don't want the opiates that you sling in Old Bridge. They don't want the booze that you sling in Old Bridge all over the place. Because that's what you sell in Old Bridge. You got no problem selling booze and OxyContin. That you have no problem with. But medicine that people need, like disabled war vets like Phil, maybe he needed medical cannabis. I don't know. But there's plenty of Phils out there. And you've put them last in line. Last in line. That's not what Christians do. That's not what we do. Disgusted with this ordinance. We've been there quite a few times since then, and you have done nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What are you on this earth for? You're here on this earth for 100 years, maybe, if you're lucky. And what have you done? What is your legacy going to be? Having sick, dying people with cancer yell at you for taking their medicine?
I'm sorry, sir, that was your 3 minutes. I do need to stop the time. Next, I have Patrick Duff. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hey, my name is Patrick Duff. I actually reside in Haddon Heights, New Jersey. I'm here to speak on the ban for the medical cannabis dispensaries, but also, you know, I'm a researcher and a historian, and I've been trying to. It's interesting. People have been invoking Martin Luther King's name, and I've been trying to save a house in Camden that had Martin Luther King live at the house, actually, and the state of New Jersey denies even Martin Luther King's history, you know, as being significant in the state of New Jersey. So New Jersey has a lot of very, very systemic racism problems with New Jersey. And I'll just say, when I look at your use of force report, it says that in Old Bridge, New Jersey, that a black person is 201% more likely to have force used on them than a white person based on the population of Old Bridge. And based on arrests, a black person in Old Bridge is 24% more likely to have use of force used on them. So then when we go over to your miseducation, if you look at ProPublica, it's called miseducation, you can see different types of either discipline and or like AP classes. And in Old Bridge, New Jersey, a white student has 2.1 times the opportunity in AP classes, and then a black student is disciplined at 2.3 times that of a white student in Old Bridge. Now, when we go to your Jonas Salk Middle School, this one you might want to take a look at. The discipline rate over its Jonas Salk for students of 2 or more races is 7.9 times that of the white students in that same school. Black students, discipline rate is 2.5 times that of the white students in the school. And a big part of everything that I'm talking about here, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, is that your ban on cannabis dispensary or cannabis dispensaries, medical and or recreational, is just because you're ignorant. You don't really understand what the dispensary does for a neighborhood and or doesn't do. Number one, I mean, it doesn't bring some sort of unwanted crime. It also, I'm 30 days sober tomorrow. I'm pretty proud of that, actually. When I look at your town, you have at least, I think, 12 liquor stores in your town. So I don't know why you couldn't support a marijuana dispensary when it's non-toxic, it's benign and benevolent, doesn't cause dysphoria, doesn't cause a person to smash their car up and not remember what happened the next day. So listen, you got to get your act together a little bit there. I don't know what the person said, the council person, but when you have people calling in asking for somebody to resign over what they said, you might want to make some comments after these public comments to, enlighten people as to what happened. Because I'm at least going to tell some reporters to maybe look up on this.
I do need to mute you now. Next, I have Gina Frazier. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, yes, my name is Gina Frazier, Woodbridge, New Jersey. I am also calling in for the immediate resignation of Dr. Greenberg Belly. The fact that you find the that the NGA's support of Black people is disturbing, well, that's disturbing. You are disturbing. Your comments are disturbing. And the fact that you still hold your seat right now is disturbing. Your racist rant was absolutely unacceptable, and it was full of lies and misinformation. There was one thing in all of it that you got right, and that was the fact that you said, maybe if history was taught without bias, people would learn from it. And obviously, the educational system failed you, Ms. Greenberg-Belly, because you did not learn from it. You were taught history that is rooted in white supremacy, history that is still being taught to many of our children today. The history that we're being taught is what's leading to people like you that are able to hold a seat of power, and it needs to stop. You need to resign. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Council President, at this time, I do not have any more raised. I'm just checking. Nick Berger. I apologize. I have more hands raised. The next one I have is Nick Berger. Nick Berger, I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Berger, I've asked you to, I see your hand is no longer raised. Next I have, it's just identified as John. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is John. And all I want to really come on to say really is just that, and you know, I've heard that there was a black boy called nigger, and I just really want to just say I don't really know what the fuck is up with that within Black History Month. I don't know how this person is.
Nick Berger has raised his hand again. I'm sorry, I've asked you to unmute.
Hi, this is Nick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm from Parsippany. I just wanted to get on to really just say that I think Anita should resign. She should not be reflecting or should not be a reflection of a town. It goes to show that Anita does not know our aggregate history. It goes to show that Anita is racist. She may be upset that we're calling her racist, but what she said was definitely blatantly racist. And those of us that are people of color, those of us that are Black, you don't know what we go through because you're not in our shoes. Your privilege protects you, ours does not. So we're appalled and offended greatly by your comment. And I want to close off by saying this. How you spell racist, Anita Greenberg? How you spell racist, Anita Greenberg?
I have Michelle. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Michelle, I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, this is Michelle Keys of Old Bridge. I'd like to, all the people speaking to say, take it down a notch about racism because also the people of Old Bridge, we're actually not really racist, okay? There's a lot of people that live in Old Bridge that are not racist and not liking BLM, okay? Everybody's life matters, okay? We all matter. There doesn't have to be about who likes this and what race matters. Everybody's life matters, And I think that all of you should take it down a notch and just appreciate certain things of what you are given, because I think that's a failed reason to why you're looking not what is given to you in this town of Old Bridge, because we appreciate all lives here. We are not racist. Thank you.
Next, I have someone identified as Brooke. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, did I do it right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's really hard to hear you guys. My name is Brooke Patterson. I'm at 7 Diana in Old Bridge. Okay to speak?
With your comment.
I can speak freely. I missed the first part of the meeting.
You have 3 minutes to make any comment to the council.
Okay, quickly. I have missed the past couple of meetings with my kids and time-wise. I really just want to make a shout out to Mayor and the Parks and Recreation. I live in Central Park and I speak on behalf of my neighborhood. I think we have the most great looking Old Bridge vibing signs that are sitting on our beautiful landscaping that was all cut down by the township. Thank you for taking care of our park and our sinkholes. And so I really wanted to have something positive to say for once. You know, these comments have been a little crazy that I've never heard adults talk this way. It's a shame. I'm very proud to live in this town. But I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you also to the people that came to our teachers, our kids rally at the EA meeting building. We're just really thankful that you guys show up when we need you to show up. I did speak to Mayor briefly in email. I know kind of his stance, and Mark Rizzoli, thank you, about the schools. And I know it's not entirely, you know, with the township involved, but I did just want to ask if we can elaborate a little more on what's going on as far as the camps and the before and after care. I know that they said that it's ultimately the Board of Ed that kind of has to provide the location and maybe the staff. I just want to make sure I follow that correctly. Did everybody lose their jobs? Were they furloughed? Is there hope for this? You know, are we looking into this happening now that the schools are finally reopening? So that's all I really wanted to kind of inquire about. But I really did want to say thank you all for just being so great to us.
Did you have any further comments?
No, that was it. I'm not a good public speaker.
All right, thank you. Next, I have Ryan Flan. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I am from Woodbridge. I'm calling this evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, you're saying mute on my end. I'm not sure why. I'm calling from Woodbridge. I want to just basically say that I stand in full solidarity of the support of expressing our great concern that Anita Greenberg should be resigning. She actually make us all sick that believe in Black Lives Matter. So for her racist comments of what she made was completely disheartening. And it was terrible. And I don't know what God she served that really would forgive her for what she stated, but you know, the God that we believe in, the God of all gods, we know that he stands with Black Lives Matter. He stands with justice. He stands with truth. He stands with dignity. He stands with respect. And he stands with all the young people who are fighting to make a difference. I am Jamaican myself. My family is immigrants. All of us actually are immigrants. This is a country of immigrants. This country was founded on immigrants. This is stolen land. We are on borrowed land. This is native land. So you think that you guys built this? No, my people built this for free. And you know what? Let me tell you this. You may not want to hear it, but that's the raw aggregate truth. And for you guys to actually, it shows no diversity in your town when you have a town majority of all white people and so many boards of all white people. When the last speaker, the speaker before last, said that there's no problem with, you know, racism in her town. But you know what? She's racist as hell too. And many of the council members are racist. So stop being racist, and we won't tell you that you're racist in the first place if you don't act like you're racist. Bye.
I have Michelle next. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, this is Michelle Keys again.
I'm sorry, ma'am, you can actually only speak once during the meeting, so I do have to stop your time.
Oh.
I don't have any more public comments, but I do have Matt Mercurio, our department head, on the line who'd like to make a comment if allowed. Mr. Mercurio, can you please address
Yes, Gabby.
council?
Can you hear me, Gabby?
Yes, I can.
Yes, good evening, Matt.
Hi, guys. How are you? I'm just making a comment in reference to the comment that we had from Brooke. I had gotten an email today from Councilman Rizzoli as well. When it comes to before and after care for the school-age children, that is handled by the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Social Services. I have two children in district myself, a second grader and a third grader. As everybody knows, right now we are still on the, if you opted in for the 2 days a week half-day schedule, where you would have half days and you don't eat lunch and you go home at 1:10 p.m. Until the schools resume a 5-day a week full day, I don't see us getting into the schools to offer that program. We have put in requests for the school building usage for summer camps. We have not heard back a yes or no yet. An email response from the superintendent about 2 weeks ago said that he would run it past the board, past his Board of Education, and let us know what the status was for if the buildings would be available to us in the summer. And to answer Brooke's question, the buildings are Board of Education. They do allow us and permit us to use them, but we staff them with our own employees for both before and after care, and as well as full day summer camp. And that's kind of all I had to say. We've been getting a lot of questions on it. We're kind of giving everybody the same response. Once we have more information, we will reevaluate. I know, having kids as well, that's not the answer that everybody wants to hear, but unfortunately that is the situation that we are in right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Mr. Shaw, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you, Council President, to allow me. The Board of Education and Township has many years have a shared service agreement where Board of Education provides facility and Township provides the staffing and management of the before and after care program and summer camp program. And as Matt indicated, that school is not, we don't know when is actually going to open, and also with the facility, limitation in the facility, with the social distancing requirement, it's going to be very difficult to open the before and after care program this school year. We're going to evaluate during the summer after consultation with the school, and hopefully begin in the fall the program again. The program is still going to be active when we can. There's not that we have canceled the program or we're not going to discontinue. There may be, a different setup, but it will be continuing, and we'll be providing that great services to the parents of Old Bridge school children. So I just want to make sure that everybody understand that clearly. Want to clarify that it doesn't look like that this school year we'll be able to bring that program back. We'll reevaluate during the summer, and we'll try to bring it back in fall as long as school facilities available and school is open for 5 days.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaw.
We have 2 more raised hands for public comment, so I am going to, the next one I have is Allison Lakeda. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Ms. Lakeda, please unmute and to address the council.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
7 Jasmine Road, Allison Licata. I'm calling, I know you guys are not Board of Ed, but there's some serious, like, I don't know how much you guys can get involved with the Board of Ed, but we are 2 parents of I'm an essential worker. My husband's an essential worker. He even had to go in during the quarantine back last March. And it's pretty serious at this point with the parents in this town worried about children wanting to kill themselves. I have children coming to me. I work virtually with children doing therapy in 2 other districts. One is open and they're doing extremely well. They've been open since September, 5 days a week. The other one has been closed and is finally going back in. And I have some of them crying to me on the phone, telling me they want to kill themselves without their parents around who are working, literally telling me this. And it's pretty serious. I mean, they may not kill themselves, but they really they're depressed, you know? And I want to know what the town is doing about it to help push this along, because there is no plan from the Board of Education. There should be at least some kind of plan. I mean, I understand they just went back 2 days a week, but they need to start getting a plan and letting the people know that there's something getting together. You know, I know under districts haven't pushed up to 4 or 5 half days yet, or even full days, but they have something in place. There's nothing in place here. The other concern that I have is I have a first grader who needs help. I have a mother who has to help her, who's struggling. You know, has health issues. I have to rely on her to sit with my first grader. Thank God she went back her 2 days this week, and it was phenomenal. We'll take what we can get, but it's not enough. And I have a kindergartner going in that can't even look at a computer and pay attention to a computer, and we had to sign her up for Catholic school. We are concerned because we don't know what we're doing. I know it's a little early for the next year, but we have to start thinking about these things. And I want to know, like, how can I've been paying for school for my children for 6 years now, for daycare and everything. And now I got to keep paying for it. I'm doing it this year. I have to send my mother comes, or Educare, because I'm working. My husband's working. I shouldn't have to pay taxes, you know, like, for this kind of thing. I have to pay, I already signed up for Catholic school, but the towns and parks and recreation after school prices for 3 days for a minimum price of $300, for instance, is it's only 3 days a week minimum. Okay, so I might as well just go pay for Catholic school. So for 5 days, it's almost the same price of Catholic school. Either way, you know, special needs kids, and I do work with them, so I'm all for them being 5 days a week, but my child has needs too. Okay, I understand a lot of them have gone to due process because these parents from Old Bridge, I work with them outpatient. They come to me, they tell me they want to go out of district. You know, that costs us money. But at the same time, my child has needs. Why are they not in school 5 days? And if not, how are we getting our money back for this? You know?
Ma'am, that's your 3 minutes, so unfortunately I do have to cut you off. Thank you for your comments. Next I have Joe B. I've asked you to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks. I just wanted to echo the last caller just regarding the schools.
Can you just give your name and address for the record, sir?
Oh, sorry. It's Joe Beckendorf on Morristown Road. Just echoing the last call regarding, you know, getting the schools open 5 days a week. Obviously, as you guys know, we've been pushing on the Board of Ed every single meeting that we have with them, sending them emails, you know, trying to, I guess, just brighten their eyes onto the real situation that's going on, the real crisis that's going on. Just like the last caller, you know, alluded to, it's the mental health crisis that's going on with these kids, which is a real and growing concern around this country. I mean, all across the country, like she said, you know, kids just basically want to end it because they can't be in school, they can't be with their friends, they're not getting the education that they deserve and that they expect. And I saw a study recently that, you know, a minor this year is 3 times more likely to die of suicide than of COVID. I mean, that should tell you a lot. And especially in this district, there is not one case that's traced back, one positive COVID case traced back to being into the schools. Obviously, in the last week, I saw another study that the transmission rate is down 15%. I mean, obviously, we're moving in the right direction, you know, I think across the world, and especially in this district, you know, regarding COVID and, you know, trying to get past the situation. So I really, again, what the last caller said, I don't know what you guys can do, you know, how much input you really have, you know, regarding the Board of Ed and our school system. I think the one thing that we, you know, have requested, I think a couple of meetings ago, was trying to move the Board of Ed elections up to April. I mean, it's clear that the Board of Ed does not care about our kids, their education, and their future. So it would pain me to see them in power for an entire school year going into September. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Next, I have Michelle. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, it's Michelle from Old Bridge.
Okay, you have 3 minutes to make your comment.
Yeah, yes, hi, I'm a citizen of Old Bridge. I'd just like to voice my concern about the election, because the election should be in April, okay, of this year and not October. I mean, many townships have pushed that, and I think we should push that for the BOE election to be in April, because we need to make changes here. Don't you see that? We see that. We can make changes here to better ourselves for the BOE, because they're not doing what they should be doing. So they can't hide behind the federal election and have their own ballot. They should hold their own in April. Can we try to make changes to make them accountable for what we should do here? Thank you.
Thank you, and I have Keith M. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Hello? Keith M. I'm sorry, we can't hear you, so I am going to move on. I don't have any other raised hands.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public portion now. Sorry, next will be our consent agenda. I'd like to ask for a motion and a second, and then I'll take separations. Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli, and now I'll ask for separations, please.
Ms. Brown, do you have any separations?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Mr. De Palma?
No, I do not.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
None.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Piscitti?
D7.
Mr. Rizzoli?
No separations, thank you.
Ms. Walker?
No, thank you.
President Sohor?
No, thank you. So I'll take a roll call on the balance, correct?
Yes. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah.
Mr. Piscitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Next, C7, Mr. Pescitti.
Yeah, can I just get a recap of what it is?
Sure. Council President.
Please, Mr.
Councilman Pescitti, I'm sorry. The construction office currently uses a software that was developed by company, sort of with the help, was an attempt to sort of custom develop that software. Unfortunately, company is pretty much abandon the project. We're still working with the software, but before they shut down completely, we need to move on the new software. And the construction office has reviewed the software provided by Special Data Logic. They find it very, in fact, it's an improvement to current software. Will help construction office do their inspection properly. It uses the mobile devices, smart devices when they go on inspections on the front, and update the back-end records instantly. They have other features that are added to that. So we are recommending that council approve this acquisition. Obviously, the cost is going to be slightly higher than what we currently, because we're on the maintenance with the current plan, but it's not dramatically higher, and it will improve the services.
Okay, I'd like to move it. If anybody has,
Okay, anyone else? Nobody else had a question? Okay, Mr. Pischetti moved it, second by Mrs. Walker? Okay, Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pischetti?
yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Next will be our budget introduction, 2021 budget introduction.
Thank you, Council President. Just want to give you, this tonight is the introduction of the budget. We have provided an electronic package of information to the council members last week. There was just revisions, and I believe it was a positive revisions to that budget. And tonight, we are asking council to introduce the budget, and then we'll have a 3 workshops set up that I have sent an invitation to all the council members. And then on March 23rd, council will do the detailed presentation as well as public hearing on the budget and possible adoption. So in my administrative report that I used to read before this, I'm just going to read that specifics for the introduction. The 2021 municipal budget is up for introduction this evening. The total general appropriation for 2021, excluding municipal library purpose, is $58,055,994 compared to $57,046,313 in the 2020 budget as modified. The proposed tax rate for municipal purposes for 2021 is estimated to be $0.994, which reflects a zero tax rate increase over 2020 of $0.994. For average home in Old Bridge assessed at $154,578, there is no municipal tax increase. From $1,537 in 2020 to $1,537 in 2021. The Township Council has tentatively scheduled council budget subcommittee meeting for March 1st, March 11, and March 15, 2021 to review the proposed budget in more detail. A formal presentation and public hearing on the municipal budget are scheduled for March 23rd, 2021 council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Council introduce the budget tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. So we have now ordinances for first reading.
We need motions.
Yeah, I need a motion, please.
Move it. Second.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pischetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so you have the resolution read by title. We have to also do a motion? And a second, yes. Can I have a motion for the resolution?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pischetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, so we're all set with the budget being introduced, correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next will be 9, which is ordinances for first reading. FR1, capital ordinance for 2021, various parking improvements. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, FR2, bond ordinance for 2021, various capital improvements. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Same.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes and 1 abstention.
Okay, next is F3, bond ordinance for 2021, various arena improvements.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Piscitty.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Same.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes and 1 abstention.
Next is FR4, ordinance to establish the municipal budget appropriation limits and cap bank, NJSA 40A 4-4514 for the calendar year 2021.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
FR5, an ordinance to amend Chapter 160, fees, Article 1, recreation fees, Section 2, Hockey League, instruction hockey of revised general ordinances of the Township of Old Bridge, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. Do I
Move it.
have? Okay.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes and 1 no.
Next will be report of the Township Clerk.
I have no report tonight.
Okay. Township Attorney
No report at this time.
and Administrative Report, Mr. Shaw.
Yes, Council President. The administrative report for February 23rd, 2021. Item number 1, Old Bridge Township and Old Bridge Board of Education will continue sponsoring COVID-19 testing through March. Testing will be held at the Old Bridge High School parking lot on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Result will be received the following day of testing via email. Residents who do not receive their result the next day may contact Synergy Lab directly at 732-695-4700. I want to add a couple of things, a couple of questions that's come up with the testing. The testing should be covered by the insurance if you have the insurance. If not, the CARES Act funding provides funding for CARES Act. Individual does not need to pay for any of the testing done at the school site. I'm not referring to testing done somewhere else, but the one that we sponsor. If anybody has any bill received, even by error, they can call Synergy Lab to address it, or send a copy of that to my office, and then we'll address it. But there is there is no charge for this service at the school. I just want to clarify because I know I got a couple of inquiries on that regards. I also want to bring council updated on some encouraging discussion that is going on. Mayor and myself have a discussion with the state officials as well as the hospital folks to see if some point we can bring vaccination program to Old Bridge. As you know, currently, county, who is in charge of the health department through our shared service agreement, has not brought in a vaccination center in Old Bridge for Old Bridge residents. We have, both of us has expressed our disappointment to county as well as the state, and we have an open dialogue with the state to see if there's any way we can bring that in Old Bridge. I don't want to give high hopes because it's out of our control, but we're going to make every push that's possible, every effort that's possible to see if we can find a way for state to bring the vaccination center in Old Bridge.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, Parks and Recreation is now accepting field permit application for the spring 21 season. Item number 3, Parks and Recreation Spring Program brochure is available with classes starting up in mid-March. For information and to view the class offering, please visit oldbridge.com/recreation. Item number 4, the short-term rental and mortgage assistance grant program by the Township of Old Bridge has appropriated $100,000 of his federal community block grant CARES funds for the short-term rental and mortgage assistance program. Approximately up to 15 eligible applicants will secure assistance. Currently, 6 grants have been allocated. For more information and to apply for assistance, please visit oldbridge.com/rental assistance. I already spoke about municipal budget. I'm going to skip that. Item number 6, proposed 2021 capital bond ordinance for general improvements in the total amount of $3,625,000, arena improvements in the amount of $130,000, and a parking improvement in the amount of $100,000 were introduced by the council at tonight's council meeting. A formal presentation and public hearing on the 2021 capital budget is also scheduled for introduction at tonight's council meeting. A formal presentation and public hearing on the 2021 capital budget are scheduled for March 23rd, 2021 council meeting. Item number 7, 2021 cap index ordinance. The proposed cap bank ordinance was introduced at tonight's council meeting. The ordinance authorized the township to bank the difference between the final budget appropriation subject to cap and the cost of living adjustment when the difference is not appropriated as a part of the final budget. It is important to note that a proposed budget scheduled for introduction is $341,458.02 below the state mandated cap base of $47,119,203.02. The purpose of this ordinance is to allow township to carry the cap balance for up to 2 years in accordance with the state statute, providing some level of flexibility for the township should local or state economic conditions change. Item number 8, Cdbg Small Business Grant Round 2. The second round of Cdbg Small Business Grant Program has been extended to March 5th, 2021. We are urging all small businesses within township that have been severely impacted by COVID-19 pandemic to apply for assistance. For more information and to fill out application, please visit oldbridge.com/smallbusinessgrant. Item number 9, Moody's affirmed the Township of Old Bridge credit rating as excellent. Its AA1 rating is stronger than U.S. city median rating of AA3. The notable credit factors include very healthy financial position, very strong wealth and income profile, and extensive tax base. The township's credit position also reflects an exceptionally light debt burden and a moderate liability. That concludes my report, Council President.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaw. Does any council member have a question or a comment? Mr. De Palma?
Just one thing on the budget, to you, Dawn, and everyone else, great job. The 0% increase after the year that we had with COVID. I think it's phenomenal that we were able to not put any more burden on our residents, so thank you all very much. Not only you, Dawn, and that team, but also all the employees of the township, because it's, you know, this is not an individual effort, it's the entire town and everyone that works for the town that really were able to save the taxpayers' money, so thank you all.
Anyone else for a comment? Mr. Pasquini?
Yeah, I want to echo Councilman De Palma's comments. Kudos to the administration and the township employees, everyone. I'm sure everybody had a part to play in the teamwork, keeping the budget with no increase. So congratulations, good job. Do we know anything about the school? Is the school, have they signaled what they're going to do?
No, we do not have any information on school budget.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Dr. Greenberg?
Yes, I would also like to say it's a job well done. I know it wasn't an easy job to do this, especially with what you've had to deal with this past year. And it is a collaborative effort from every head of department, all the employees working and understanding the financial situation. When you look at that, it's quite remarkable. And once again, that the Moody's rating that we got, we've been consistent in this town, and it's not just one episode. This is continuous every year, that you're steadfast in really maintaining a good fiscal environment that protects the town and protects every resident, and still providing services. And I only wish, when you look at everything throughout the state and the country, that we would be in, that they would take cue from you, Mr. Shaw, from you, Mayor Henry, and from the heads of these departments, to realize that you do come together in difficult times. And it's not easy when you have to make these decisions, but when you look at on the federal level, it's just total insanity. When you think the debt that we're in, and then when you think how they're approaching COVID relief, to know the small amount, when you think we're talking about trillions of dollars. We still haven't even gotten the first money from the first or second relief bills, and they're talking about the third relief bill. But what's most tragic when you look at that, people tell us, line by line item. We go over everything line by line. We have budget meetings. But could you imagine if we took money from the residents of the town and gave it to other countries or states that aren't vested, and that's your money? It's just absurd when you think of the situation that we're in. So when you look at the totality of this, I think it's quite amazing with the job that you've done. And I'm very proud of all of you, and really it's quite a feat, and to provide the services and keep moving forward in this direction year after year, and to be stable and financially secure. That speaks volumes. Thank you.
Mrs. Walker?
I just want to say great job to the administration, all our employees, and thank you for no increase. But I just want the residents to be aware it's out of our control for the Board of Ed and the county taxes and the fire tax as well. So if there's an increase, it's not on us.
Anyone else have a comment?
Yeah, congratulations, everyone. How much you put yourself in for something extra?
Anyone else? Okay, well, yes, Mr. Shaw, thank you as well for all I think it's a very strong foundation this house is built on, and that took a lot of hard work on everyone's part. So we're on solid ground where we should be, and once again, we're weathering this whole storm of pandemic and telling our residents that we're there for them. We understand they're in troubled times as well, and that we feel their problem, and we want to work with everyone to make sure that we get through this together as a strong town, as we should.
Council President, if I may, first of all, I want to thank all the council members for their kind comments, and yes, it is a collective effort for all of our department heads that are doing a great job, all the employees that are doing a great job for the town. I think that we have improved services together, and we have tried to maintain the financial control. And I want to thank council because of a lot of policy recommended that has been implemented in our budgeting practices that support from the council. This wouldn't be possible without your support. So we hope to have a continued support of the council, and I do want to congratulate employees because without their assistance, we wouldn't be able to deliver the budget that we have been able to deliver to the council. And I just want to, in conclusion, I want to take both our Public Works and Parks and Department head, Kyle and Matt, as well as the entire staff of both departments for their tremendous hard work through the difficult January and February snowstorm. We had such an unbelievable snowstorm, and what they have accomplished in maintaining the roads and access, they should be congratulated. And the leadership provided by both, it was just excellent. Information was flowing fast. Issues were resolved very fast by both Matt and Kyle. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shaw, if no one else has any comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve. Moved by.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Mr.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Absent from dais. Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Shaw. Next will be council member comments.
Ms. Brown?
Thank you. I have a couple of things to say. First of all, the organization I started, the Old Bridge Coalition for Equality, had a really great Black History Month event this past Saturday. We had over 60 kids attending. It might have been, actually we had over 100 RSVPs, but I believe we had about maybe somewhere between 60 and 80 kids, so I lost track. But either way, that was really fun and enjoyed by a lot of the kids in the township and elsewhere. The other thing I want to state is that, as many know, over the past 3 years, I've asked that this council work together and provide more transparency to the people that live here. So it seems like the more that I've asked, the more that I've been excluded from meetings and conversations. And now I have been getting repeated text messages and phone calls from people in Ward 3 that are frustrated with all the building that's going on. I have asked numerous times everyone I knew who probably would have the real answer to whether or not development was happening behind Brewster Circle in particular, and also in other places in the town. And I was repeatedly told that there wouldn't be any building, or I would get the answer, I don't know. I find this is not only divisive for us as leaders to do to each other, exclude, omit information and not also share information wholly with each other, but it's also disrespectful to the people who work and reside in Old Bridge, because now, after months of them asking me why surveyors were on their property, I kept saying to them, well, I don't know. I asked the engineering department, I asked Himanshu, I asked the clerk, I asked everyone, is there going to be building? And everyone said, no, I don't know. No, I don't know. So this is really sad and unfortunate, and now they're pretty upset and will be attending the zoning board meeting tomorrow because of it. I'm not sure what can be done at this point, unfortunately, though. Another note, the remarks made on February 9th by Councilwoman Greenberg were absolutely deplorable and discriminate, but it's nothing new. I will say I did not receive any email by the NJEA that she claims all the council members received. But even if I did, I doubt it warranted her response. I want to say this, and I want everybody to take a thought with this one. Let's say you or someone you loved was being abused. I believe you would want to be heard out and that you would want the situation to change. But when everybody comes on this dais, okay, maybe not everybody, but a large number of people come on this dais month after month making comments about race, radicalism, all these other things, And then also say that racism doesn't exist. It's a slap in the face to people who experience it every day. I myself have experienced it. My kids have experienced it and are biracial. The truth is that most intelligent people know that denying racism is itself a tactic of very racist people. So if you continue to do that, just know no one is fooled by the fact that you're also racist if you continue to deny that it exists. I want you to think about this really quickly without having a reflexive answer. If racism doesn't exist, would you be open to you or your children being treated the same exact way that black people are treated on a daily basis? I want you to think about it. Think of the words and the actions that people attribute to the black community. Think of things you've thought or said when you thought no one was listening. The very same words that you've spoken out at our meetings. There's also an assumption and a suggestion that black people are less smart or less respectful of ourselves. You actually said that at the meeting on February 9th. Some of your very own friends have sent me messages and emails stating this as well. I remember in particular a teacher who was a friend of the 3 other women in this council sending me an email saying, as an educator, that black people are stupid and lazy. And I quote, and it has been shared out and other people have seen it. And I was told by a very reputable source that that was in fact a very close friend of the 3 other women on this council. All right, that being said, no one here, I myself, I don't think anybody else who's of color in this town needs you to keep denying that race exists or racism exists. I just would rather you keep your opinions to yourself. Every single meeting, it seems, there is some like national issue that comes up. There's some race issue. There's the NJEA. There's all these entities and initiatives and programs that we have nothing to do with. The state does not care about our opinion. Like, let's be honest. The county doesn't care about our opinion. So we can champion for people, but let's just do that in a more respectful way instead of always disrespecting other people, instead of always talking badly about the administration or the current one, because as a matter of fact, the current administration has only been there for like a month, right? So whatever they have going on is kind of a residual of what was in the former administration. So again, an intelligent person would know that. I want to say this too. Whisper campaigns and vile words do more to tear down this community than it does to keep it going. And you know this. We have kids in our school that are of all different nationalities. And if you keep saying these things, please understand their parents hear you, teenagers hear you, and they are outraged. And eventually, the votes that you think that you have are going to fade away, and you're going to be reliant on those very same young people that you are dismissing. This town is in close proximity to New York City, so it is likely that it will keep getting more diverse as the months and years go by. So you just have to deal with it. And before you call people and try to persuade them to counteract my messages or to harass me, as you have done in the past, please remember that good leaders seek to create harmony, not discord. Just remember that one especially. All of that being stated, I strongly urge the members of this council to focus on finding ways to keep our local businesses thriving, finding ways to decrease overdevelopment, and using their energy to unite people in this town instead of always having something to say that stirs up contention, and instead of focusing on things that are not even within our jurisdiction. We are here to serve Old Bridge, so let's do so in wisdom and in peace. Thank you.
Mr. De Palma?
Thank you. I just wanted to just reiterate again to thank you to Kyle, the Department of Public Works, and all the contractors for all the great work that they did with the snowstorms. Hopefully we are way past any more weather coming in. I would hate for Kyle to have to sleep on that cot another night. But thank you all again. You guys did a wonderful job. I do know that there were some hiccups here and there. With any major snowstorm, with any major event, we will have that. But overall, fabulous job. Councilman Rizzoli and I, as we were walking in today, ran into 2 residents, and they stated as much. They live right near Spotswood, and as you're driving from Old Bridge into Spotswood, when you start to get into the Spotswood area, the roads were dramatically different than it was in our town. So I just wanted to make sure that we highlight it again for all the folks at the DPW, as well as the contractors of all the fabulous work that they've done over the last month or so. Also, good luck to all the students and teachers that will be going back to the hybrid schools schedule next week. I know it is only 2 days a week, half day for the students that are going back, but the entire district will be back in some way, shape, or form. I know it is not what everybody wants. It's a start. I do hope that the Board of Ed, as well as Mr. Cittadino, follows through with their plan to, one, open the schools more, and then hopefully get the students back in full time. With that, that's all. Thank you.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
I'm going to save my comments for then, thank you.
Mr. Merwin?
No comments.
Mr. Murphy? I don't have a response from Mr. Murphy.
Yes. I was debating whether I should say anything, but I have to. All right. Anita Greenberg, I've known her for more than 15 years. This woman does not have one racist bone in her body. She is loving, kind, and very generous. You see all these people calling from all different parts of the state calling her a racist. It's just, they're lies. It's wrong. These people don't know her. I know her. And I am telling you that she is not a racist. It's easy to call somebody a racist. Very easy. We've got to get away from this. It's like everyone's racist. Everyone's, there's systemic racism. Well, there is people are racist. There are racist people out there. Okay, but Anita's not one of them. All right, I know personally because I've known her for a long time. And you can tell when somebody's a racist because they say things. They make comments.
Like the one that was made on February 9th. Thank you. It's easy for a white person to say something's not racist because they don't experience. So that's exactly what I just said. So I asked you.
Councilwoman Brown, you are being disrespectful.
You always are. Thank you.
We have to keep comments limited to our time when they're assigned to us, so if we could please.
Well, if I wasn't blocked from coming to the meeting and getting on the phone and had to leave where I was, then maybe I could have made a comment earlier.
I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Thank you. Just want to touch on the parents that called in earlier. I really hope that we're able to get it resolved where our schools open more than 2 days a week. I think you can hear the anguish in their voice. They've called in on numerous meetings. Mental health has become a big issue with children, and I really hope that's able to get resolved, get our kids back in school. And as far as state issue, I really hope Governor Murphy starts prioritizing getting our seniors and making the vaccine also available to our teachers so we can help get them, back to school so we can resolve this issue. As far as the coordinated attack on Councilwoman Greenberg-Belli, I absolutely condemn it. I think, the continuously calling in here, calling people racist is ridiculous. This has been going on for a few years now. It's been the Old Bridge Democratic County Committee has done it to me. This has been going on since 2018. If people have differences of opinions, they're not racist. Unfortunately, that's become the national thing. When in doubt, call someone a racist. The NJEA did send that email because I did receive it. And that's a fact. So the NJEA sends an email. People have a right to address it. Just like they sent an email today. They want elected officials to support abolishing the standardized testing for this year. Well, I think we should have the standardized testing. I think we need to gauge how much of a failure this online learning has been. Well, after the children take the test, then we'll find out just how successful, whether it was successful or wasn't successful. I think the parents have a right to know. They pay their taxes. And I want to, say with the other councilwoman said, we have absolutely no control over the Board of Ed budget. If they raise your taxes, you're going to have to call the Board of Ed meeting. And I just want to thank the DPW for a tremendous job during all the storms we've had recently. They continue to do a great job. And, it's a very difficult thing to be out there during a storm, risking their safety. And I just want to thank the brave men and women of the Old Bridge Police Department. There's been no evidence of them being engaged in any type of racial profiling. There's no evidence from the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office engaged in any type of investigation into the Old Bridge Police Department. And I want to condemn anyone who calls in here giving false information that the police is targeting anyone or involved in any racial
As the man who has attacked a single mother.
Attack too? I know. I think we should go into executive session.
That's fine with me. Let's do it. All right.
Make a motion for executive session.
I second it.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to go into executive section.
And I second it.
What are we going to executive session for? Because my husband's not leaving this room. So what is the executive session for? Can anybody answer that question?
Well, we like to have evidence of who was doing racial behavior.
Oh, I have emailed and I've explained and no one answered.
We can't do
We
it this way.
we can have a conversation.
Produce it.
Oh, I will produce it. Absolutely.
Listen, let's get a hold of ourselves, okay? This is not
So my issue is
solving
I'm
anything
here
at this
on the
point.
council, but I will not be also harassed. So when I say that something is inappropriate, it should stop. That's it. I don't want to hear people defending that they're not racist. If you don't think you're racist, good for you. But there has been numerous times where I have tried to speak and I've gotten cut off. There's been times where I tried to call and I was not allowed to call in. That's why I brought myself here in person. So again, I'm going to ask, unless you all want to be sued, to stop with the I'm not racist garbage and just stop talking about race if you don't want me to then have a comment afterward. Because it's very easy for you as white people to say you're not racist, when you literally at the last meeting said that black people don't respect themselves and aren't educated. I've also heard tapes of Rizzoli saying that black people who get shot deserve it. I have all the proof of this.
Please produce those tapes.
No, I have it. Yeah, I can. I will send you an email immediately.
Deserve it.
Yeah, I will send you an email immediately. I'm just simply asking, I understand, and I'm asking you for my mental health because everyone's concerned about mental well-being.
And is that
But
each one of
I
us
understand
can
that.
comment.
I understand that.
It may not be what the other person wants to hear, any of us.
But
we have
they don't want to
let
hear what I
everyone-
say either, and then I get censored. And so have people who have tried to call here. So if I already know there's a Facebook group where people were given the right number, and then other people were supposed, I have proof of all of this. There's proof of a lot of stuff. I can give it all to you, but I don't want to hear any more about race.
Please. All right. You've had your comments and you've had what you wanted to say. We've all listened. I've listened. I've heard everything you said. Now you have to let the other
Learn from
people
it.
speak. And it's not a rebuttal. This is something where each individual has something they want to say, and we have to listen to each other and it's not just one narrative. It's everybody speaking.
It is one narrative when I speak and everyone rolls their eyes and makes comments, and
right.
then sends their friends to come and harass me.
Okay, we're going to move on. Mrs. Walker, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Greenberg?
Yes, I would like to say something, because this is very sad that racism was brought into this chambers. Reggie Butler sat there for 27 years. He was my friend. I was with him for the last days while he was dying. And I don't understand how this even came about. When Adina Brown came on the council, I greeted her. I welcomed her.
You
When
did
she had
not, and
town
you keep
hall
bringing
meetings,
up
I went to
race.
her. I've never had
Bringing
anything
up
negative
race.
to say
Yes,
about
you
her,
have.
and I won't.
I will share the emails on Facebook then. You keep bringing up race. If you
Adina,
don't care,
I've
if-
never
yes,
said
you have.
anything that, are you
If-
going to let me speak?
But I don't want to hear a defense of racism, because if she's not racist, then why is she sending her?
But I'm not, you're saying, you've made accusations.
Never been nice to me.
And I've already gotten legal counsel, so this is a
That's fine.
problem. I feel
The
that
problem
I'm targeted, and I
Of
feel there's a
course you're
sense of
targeted.
Adjourn the meeting.
Of course you're targeted.
To adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Brown?
Absolutely.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Off days. Mr. Piscitty? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker? Ms. Walker? Oh, President Selhor?
Yes, yes.
The meeting is adjourned at 9:21.